Welcome to Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Bacon. Welcome to part two in my two-part series about remorse. I'm going to be sharing with you the other part of the conversation when I was talking to the young man that I was engaged in with the conversation about remorse, and I'm going to explain to him. I'm going to share with you what I explained to him about how I believe the remorse is part of the healing process and how we should embrace that. You know what I mean? And so let me just pick right up where I left off with that. I was talking to the young man about remorse and how, it's not meant to uh, hurt us. It's not meant to be painful. I think that when we interpret remorse as pain, I think we're using a limited understanding of what it's intended for. I think that we sometimes confuse, what we go through when we go through a trial or not even a trial, but just waiting to go to court or waiting to plead out. I think we confuse, those feelings that we have with the process that we're going through the justice system. And I think that's a very, very dangerous thing to do. And what we often do is numb ourselves to the whole process because we don't want to be seen as weak or anything like that, because you're inside this system, you're inside this bubble, this institution that, most people in here believe that you're either the predator or the prey, which that's how it is. But, it causes us to shut down and not be able to connect with those emotions that are going to help us heal. I'm not talking about, getting the sentence and thinking the sentence is going to do this and do that, right? Or that specific time in prison is going to heal that. I'm talking about what God is going to do for you, what the universe is going to do, and how it's going to heal your body. You know what I'm saying? Your mind and your soul. And that process, in my opinion, includes embracing and experiencing the fullness of what remorse is all about. Remorse, again, like I say, it's an acknowledgement, it's a regret of your past deeds, the things that you've done that cause pain to people. It may not even be exclusively about the crime that you committed or why you're in jail. It can be about a lot of things in your life that brought you to this point that you look back on and you're like, wow, did I have to do it that way? Did I have to do it this way, right? And if you don't ever get to that point to where you like, man, that just wasn't right. I shouldn't have done that. My thinking was flawed. Why do I believe this and why did I see it this way? If you don't ever get to that point to where you see that something was wrong with that, you really won't understand how remorse is playing a role in your life to heal you. Because that remorse is going to make you look at it and say, man, I hurt somebody else. I caused pain to somebody else. I let my sons down. I let my daughter down. I let my sister down. I let my parents down. I let my grandparents down. I let my community down. You feel what I'm saying? And more importantly, you know what I'm saying, I disappointed the Most High. And that is what I think that remorse does. It puts you on that pathway. It's the beginning of that process of reflection to where you start to look and see how these decisions that you made in your life that led to these particular outcomes, how wrong they were. And when you start to regret them, then you take the time to correct things. You can't go back, but you can move forward in a positive and productive way. And the part of that, to get to that point where you can move forward in a positive and productive way, if you have to acknowledge what happened yesterday. You have to acknowledge it. And that's not to say that everybody's going to see it the way you see it. It's not about them. This is about you and the universe, you and the Most High. And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. The universe deals with us in a true and pure way. It's not even concerned about all the things that most people in society are concerned about. The universe is concerned with one thing: healing you from the inside out, not the outside in. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people get that confused. We get a sentence cast upon us and we have to serve this sentence, and society says, okay, pay your debt to society, which is important. There's a difference between justice and mercy. You feel what I'm saying? The universe is coming from a place of mercy when it's dealing with you. And sometimes it may appear to be harsh. It may even feel painful. But the whole process is not about you suffering. The process is about you healing. And you have to accept that. You have to embrace that. And until you embrace that, you're not going to find that pathway out of all of that pain. And that's what a lot of people just don't understand. You know, finding the pathway out of that pain requires you to embrace what you did yesterday. Finding a pathway out of that pain requires you to say that I was wrong. I mean, verbally said, out your mouth, not thinking about it, not pondering on it, saying it out loud. I was wrong for that. And then you got to own that. And once you start to do that, you'll find yourself in a situation where you'll find yourself in a position where you start to see the world different. Your whole worldview will be different. You will be more aware of what you do going forward and how what decisions you make is going to affect those people around you, the people that you love, the people in your community. You'll be more aware of that. But that process begins, in my opinion, at least that's how it worked for me. That process begins with being remorseful for what you've done to others in the past. And that's what I wanted this young man to understand. Don't see remorse as being weak. See remorse as being strong. See remorse as being necessary. Something that you have to have to be able to move forward in a positive and productive way. It's a whole process. And if we continue to think on this limited level, this level of understanding that doesn't include that, doesn't embrace what the universe is doing, then we're never going to get to that point to where we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. We're never going to get there, you know. And we're going to always have this predator-prey type of mentality. It's not just in prison; it's out there on the streets too. And we have to expand our minds and accept and understand that there is a power greater than ourselves, and He's at work at all times. And that power doesn't heal by sentencing someone to a specific time or amount of time in prison. He heals us on the level that puts things back in order. You got to remember that. The universe is about order. Everything has its place. Everything functions in a way to make things move forward. And when things are out of place, the universe is going to get it back in place. And that feeling of remorse is that moving, that shifting of the gears to get you back in place. But it has to get you back in place in a way to where you will understand it. You have to accept it. It's not by force, it's by choice. You have to embrace it. And when you embrace it, you will do better. And when you do better, you're living better. And living better helps you love better. And when you love better, that means you love yourself and everybody around you. And you start to understand your place in all of this, your role in all of this. And you start to understand and appreciate the other people around you, their place and their role in all of this. And that's what I told that young man that I was talking to. Now, I know that, you know, from the looks that he was giving me, I was getting a little too heavy with him. And I hope that I'm not getting a little too heavy with y'all that's listening. You know what I'm saying? But if I am getting a little too heavy, I would like you to send me a message. Let me know. You know what I'm saying? Did I go too far? Did I go off the deep end or whatever the case may be? Tell me what you think about this episode. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up. Send me a message or send me an email to doingtimewithjoet@gmail.com. Let me know what you think about this episode, okay? This has been another Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace.